Good morning, YouTube. And welcome to Monday morning in another week. I'm just doing an easy one this morning. I use a Garmin 945, and it's got a workout feature on it. And I've never really used it, if I'm honest. So I thought I'd give it a go today. So the workout is recommending recovery. That's 160 watts for 30 minutes. And normally I'd normally get on the bike, just try and let Zwift sort that out. You know, you got the technology, you got to try these things. So the course I've chosen today is the Volcano Flat course. I actually think, given that the watch is actually controlling the watt bike at the moment, which is freaky, I think given sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. I'm at that age. I was watching the numbers. Yeah, so given that the watch is controlling the watt bike, you won't see me changing gear today. This is proper ERG stuff, I suppose. And so hopefully we should be able to see the watch keeping the bike at 160 watts for 30 minutes. Now, the odd thing about this is, I would have thought it would have had some sort of lead-in, warm-up. But as soon as I started riding, the watch took the bike straight up to 160 watts, which you probably saw me getting quite confused, trying to change gear, looking down and trying to figure out what was going on. Obviously that was the deal. Now, Monday for me is generally a rest day, so I would, if training for an event, do nothing except maybe a walk on a Monday. But you know, I'm trying to burn some fat at the moment, so I do sometimes slip a bike in as well, which isn't smart, I know, because I want to increase my cycling performance, because if you cycle more efficiently, you cycle further, faster, harder, you burn more fat. Yeah, so that's where we are this morning. Now I do certainly feel like I need a recovery day. I got probably about 110 kilometers of road riding on the gravel bike over the weekend. So the Free Ranger was definitely earning its keep there. And one of the soft goals I've set myself is, if you've watched the channel before, you might have seen me restore my old Trek Damani. And I've said to myself, when I reach a certain weight, I'm going to get riding that bike again. I haven't ridden it for a couple of years because I started to stack on the timber. It's an old carbon frame. It's a bike that I'm quite emotionally invested in. did my first multi-sport on it. Borrowed a set of carbon tri-bars off of a mate in the tri club, and that was a sprint duathlon. So what was it? I'm trying to think. It was something like a 1 mile run followed by odd distances. I think it was a 12 mile bike followed by another 1 mile run. And I just remember holding 23 miles an hour average around the bike course, which I was amazed with. But yeah, so first multi-sport on that bike. The bike I rode coast to coast in a day on. So it got me up Kirkstone Pass. No, not Kirkstone, Hard Knot. Although it has taken me up Kirkstone. Yeah, Hard Knot Pass. Bloody hell. Have you ridden that one? That's a biatch. There's no way of prettying that one up. Yeah, coast to coast in a day. It was my first carbon road bike. And I crashed it the first morning I rode it. It was just one of these completely stupid, absent-minded moments. I came barreling down a hill with a right turn at the bottom. Junction was clear. Everything was clear. World was good. I've got about 50 miles in on it at that point. Chucked it into the corner. Went merrily whizzing round. And then, for some reason, talk about bad planning, I looked over my shoulder to see where my mate was. When I looked back, the curb was coming up at me at about 30 miles an hour. And I heaved on the anchors and managed to just kiss the curb. And then had a complete clipless moment. I ended up looking at my gorgeous Trek Damani 4.5 with American classic Aero 420 wheels, just laying there and thinking to myself, that should not be on its side. Luckily I wasn't too far from the dealer, so I rode it straight to the dealer and he confirmed no damage done. Hadn't even bent the mech. Yeah, so it was a proper, just topple not tumble. And yeah. So yep, I did Ironman 70.3X more Wimbledon on that bike as well. And funnily enough, in my memories on Amazon Photos at the weekend, came up all my pictures of Wimbledon. Apparently 6 years ago, was it yesterday or today that I did that race? What a race. I remember everyone saying to me, even the swim's uphill. Now, if you've ever done it, I don't know your thoughts on it, but that swim was the nicest open water swim I've ever had. Absolutely, the quality of the water, the course, even the temperature of the water, just beautiful, beautiful swim. On the Saturday before the race, they actually give you an open session to go and practice your swim. And I must admit, I'm glad I did that practice because Wimbledon is a reservoir. I believe. Yes, it is. It's got a dam. So it gets really deep. And even though I swum open water, raced open water, I hadn't really raced anything really deep. They were all sort of like river swims and stuff like that. And I remember swimming out just on my practice lap of Wimbledon, and got to this point where when you hit the water with your hand, it had gone from being a tsh to a blum. And I thought, man, it's deep. And I had, I'll be honest, first time it's ever happened to me in any swim, I think, had a bit of a wobble. Just got a bit freaked out. But I just backed off, calmed down. Remember what my mate said to me: you probably won't drown in a wetsuit. And went with it. The swim. Good on her. And I thought, because she'd never been in a triathlon swim start before, I thought she'd be freaked out and peed off with the fight that you get at the start. And she loved it. She said there were people swimming over her, so she swam back over them. There were people, you know, doing the old fisticuffs in the water, which you don't ever mean. It just happens. And she didn't let that faze her. And she was at the swim, I think, in something like 41 minutes. So she beat me. She's actually a very good swimmer, which makes me sick. But no, good on her. So the bike course at Wimbledon, on the day that we did it, it was pretty much like the weather on Zwift at the moment. Probably the driest part of the course was in the swim. Absolutely soaked. And I got my road bike. I did think of taking my TT bike, but I knew it was a very hilly course, so I just went with the road bike. The Trek Damani had my deep section. What are they? I think they're Bontrager deep section wheels on there. Just sort of like carbon fairing over a decent alloy wheel, but they were pretty light. And I just remember being on the bike course and thinking, I'm going to get destroyed here, because, you know, back in the day I think it was about 90 kilos when I did that race, so significantly less of me than there is now, but probably quite a bit more of me than there was of the other people on the bike course. And of course, gravity's an odd and cruel mistress, in that going uphill everyone else had the advantage, whereas coming downhill I should have had the advantage. But I just remember a couple of what should have been really fast descents, you just wouldn't. It would just be foolhardy in torrential rain, soaking course, to try anything quick down those descents. There was one down into a junction. Now, anyone with local knowledge will correct me on this, but my hazy memory seems to be that it was a place called Machine Cross. Does that sound about right? Long steep hill, and on a dry day you could be really quick down there, but I was literally hanging on the brakes for dear life from the top, and I just wasn't doing anything. And then at the bottom there's a load of hay bales and an ambulance or two. So yeah, but I made the bike within cut off. There's a couple of nasty, well, there's plenty of nasty lumpy bits and hills on it, but I just remember one of them. As you run in, I think you see a couple of electricity pylons way above you, and they're almost like a marker for you're going up there, buddy. It must be 20% if it's anything in places, and I just remember getting towards the latter stages of the bike, got to this hill and everyone was walking it, and I said, I ain't gonna walk this. And I was pedalling squares and grinding my way up it, still on the bike, and I was actually getting encouragement from people who were walking it, which felt pretty good. And that's what I love about triathlon. Everyone gets it, you know. So yeah, I made it off the bike, and then the run. Boy, oh boy. A couple of hills on the run, and the only way I could describe them to people was, you see this hill, and it looks about the same gradient as when you're on the London Underground, and you see one of the long escalators going up. It looked kind of like that, and God, did it feel like it at the top. A lot of light-hearted banter with some people in the crowds. I was proudly wearing my East Essex tri suit, and I think they were having quite a light-hearted bit of banter with me every time I got to the top of this thing. And I pointed out to them, have you seen Essex? There's nothing like this in Essex. But on the last lap, I did run it just to prove I could. And, you know, it's odd, but I kind of let myself celebrate in the finish shoot more there than I did at the Vichy. And I think that was because it was such a tough race. One of the ladies in the tri club, a very seasoned triathlete, multiple Ironman, she said that in her opinion Wimbledon was as hard as a flat Ironman. So you know, I'll take that. So yes, bike took me around that, the Trek Damani. So it's a bike that I do treasure. In the recent rebuild, which I say recent, it must be over 2 years ago now, it got everything new. The American Classic 420 Aero wheels were shot well down past the brake markers on the rims. so they became scrap. It ended up with a set of Vision Team 30 wheels on there, which, you know, probably not patch on the American Classics, but they feel right, they ride all right. They came actually as the OE fitment on my Planet X Evo. So, anyway, decent wheel. What else did it get? Brake calipers were shot, so it got new, and these are rim brakes on that bike. It got new Shimano R7105 calipers, which, in my personal opinion, one of the best rim brake calipers I've ever used. What else did it get? Oh, the big one. The chain rings were shot, and I was struggling to get decent chain rings from anywhere for it. So it ended up with a set of rotor Q rings, oval chain rings on there. Now they're something that caused a bit of controversy, I think. And sorry, a bit twitching the old leg there. It's going to stand up for a second. Yeah, Q-rings. I think they caused a bit of controversy, and I know why. Having ridden them the first time I rode them, I couldn't really feel any difference. And it's not until a few rides in that I kind of got it. You're not going to put them on and suddenly see 5% increase in power or something like that. What they did for me was, I found just at those points where normally I'd be trying to put the power down and thinking, I've had this, I'm going to back off. They just let you go, just let you keep going. So yeah, odd things really. Very expensive for what they are. Bit of a fiddle to set up, in that you've got 3 positions essentially you can put the peak of the oval in, and that will determine what they call your OCP, optimum chainring position, which is all about kind of hunting down where you've got the dead spot in your stroke, your pedal stroke, sorting it out. So yeah, so it got those. What else did it get? It was a nut and bolt. I mean, everything off the frame got detailed as best I could. Deep clean, and even a ceramic polish. I like the stuff that's very popular for cars, to help it scrub a bit of dirt off. Recable, full recable, new headset spacers. It had painted white headset spacers on there, and over the years the paint had just delaminated with the alloy corroding underneath. And obviously new bar tape, double rack in fact, which I like. And so yeah, it rides like a dream. Love that bike. So obviously I didn't want to put a big lump of me on it. So at my heaviest, I'd hit just past 140 kilos, which I'm not proud of. And I still don't know how that happened. But as I speak to you today, we're talking 125. So I've said to myself, when I get to 120, which seems to be a generic max rider weight for most bikes, I'll start riding it again. And I think when you're where I am, just trying to get yourself, you know, back with a plan and fit and all that good stuff, having a goal outside of I just want to be a certain weight, I think that's a really healthy thing to do. It certainly motivates me. So I'm fiddling about with my trackpad here just to see if there's any chat, because as you know, if you've watched any of my other live streams, I do have problems with chat on OBS. I'm thinking of trying Streamlabs, because that chat window looks big and chunky and unmissable. Again, if you've got any experience with streaming and have any thoughts about the differences between the two, OBS and Streamlabs, I am a real rookie at this, so I'm all ears. Right, I have got, according to my watch, about 1:30 left. So, as I say, this has been my recovery day ride. And actually, I might start using the workout on the watch more, because this has really kept me honest at around the 160 watts mark today. More honest than I would have been on my own. Proof of the pudding, all that. I'll see how I feel tomorrow, given that I've done what it recommended, and more importantly, I'll see what it recommends tomorrow, and then probably just ignore it again. But anyway, as always, I have been the Fat Triathlete.